Дойче Думков, ты еще увидишь, как из-за твоей продажной глупости, Анна-Лена Бербок, Берлин будет гореть.
Надо как-то сделать так, чтобы американские солдаты начали гибнуть.
Да мы сотрем в порошок Варшаву и Вильнюс.
Почему мы признаем Францию в ее границах?
Как я хочу посмотреть, чтобы Урсулиха фон дер Ляля корчилась с куском беспилотника в глотке.
Когда на сегодняшний день мы говорим, что война будет безъядерной, мы, наверное, лукавим.
По количеству на душу населения, правда, Канада ее опережает, но Америка — это мировая держава по дебилу.
Я сейчас требую спалить Берлин.
As Russia faces increasing isolation from the global community, it persists in its attempts to intimidate and vilify nations that have criticized its aggressive actions. In this episode, we delve once more in the realm of Russian propaganda, where hate speech against Western countries and ideals spreads like wildfire. Let's start with Dmitry Kiselyov, a prominent Russian propagandist, responding to David Cameron's statement affirming Ukraine's right to defend itself with British weapons against Russian military targets, and issuing a warning to London. Of course, the obvious threat to us is in the words of British Foreign Secretary David Cameron, who is calling on the junta in Kiev to hit targets deep inside the Russian territory with British long-range missiles. This was all just days ago, and on Thursday, the former Supreme Commander of NATO forces in Europe, American four-star General James Stavridis, said that in the event of war, Kaliningrad would have to be neutralized. What is it? Should Russia neutralize Hamburg then? Or maybe neutralize London right away? It is precisely in response to these threats that Russia is launching exercises of its non-strategic nuclear forces. Under these conditions, there is a clear determination and readiness to use weapons that we have never used before. That's the way we've never responded to anyone before. David Cameron's remarks regarding Ukraine's right to defend itself with British weapons is not an aggressive act, as Kiselyov tries to portray it. They are, in fact, a necessary measure for Ukraine to protect its sovereignty and territorial integrity in the face of Russian aggression. Now, let's hear another nuclear threat to Britain, this time from the Kremlin's mouthpiece Vladimir Solovyov. The Poles are directly saying yes, our troops are there. They're inventing their functions, but they're there. So, of course, this is a war with NATO, and this is why I think we must act with absolute determination. If someone did not hear or understand what the Supreme Commander-in-Chief said, I'm sorry for them. And the exercises with the tactical nuclear weapons are no coincidence. And it's no coincidence that the British ambassador was summoned. And they didn't understand anything. They decided to boost aid. Well, goodbye Britain. Not a great one, but a very petty one. Well, I guess they're gonna love learning how to breathe underwater. They might not like meeting Poseidon. And then there is notorious political expert and propagandist Dmitry Evstafiev, discussing denazifying Ukraine through denazification of Europe. I agree that, of course, the article by Dmitry Anatolievich is very strong, because it raises the main question that in order to denazify Ukraine, Europe must be denazified. Is it possible? It is possible. It seems to us that it is impossible, but it is possible. Our grandfathers and great-grandfathers thought the same thing in 1943. We thought, how can Europe be denazified? The really grave geopolitical miscalculation of Joseph Vissarionovich Stalin is that France was listed among the victorious states. The comparison of Ukraine to Nazi Germany and the call for the denazification of Europe are not only historically inaccurate, but deeply offensive. They dismiss the significant sacrifices made by Ukrainians in combating fascism during World War II. Furthermore, such claims reflect the delusional nature of Russian propaganda, which seeks to distort reality and portray Western nations as aggressors threatening Russia's security. This is why the civilized world must remain vigilant and united in deterring Russia's smear tactics. Failure to do so risks emboldening Russia further and perpetuating a cycle of conflict and instability. After all, there is no other recipe against the world of lies than courage.